So here we are, the tiger. The coming year of the year of the tiger, so we are going to waking happy for this tiger. Well, our Chinese calendar, we've got 5 elements, which is the wood, mu, fire, 4, earth, 2, metal, jin, and water, 3. This one I'm doing is the wood tiger. So I actually highlight the shop corner with a bit of different tone of the brown with the wood feeling of this tiger. This particular sort of paint to me is new, and they are a little bit like grass. In a way, it's much easier to paint on than my rice paper, because this way I have the chance to rework onto it. If I do not feel like the color, I can paint it on again. Not like the rice paper, one time only. No mistake. You make mistake, you got to start a new one.
When I think fire, I think kind of like a heat wave pattern. I wanted to not create just fire visually, but I wanted to kind of replicate weather maps, the heat coming in. It's all those like swirly patterns of the reds and the oranges showing that like this area is really hot or this area is like not as hot. And yeah, it's been really cool getting back behind the paintbrush and applying paint to a real life object rather than just behind a screen.
So I did a lot of research into the earth element and the tiger zodiac. So my design, the lilies are the focal point, which is the lucky flower for the earth element. The earth tiger is a lot about like grounding and nature, but also about growth, and they're kind of the blooming form. Felt really beautiful to capture that. My textile design practice, it's a lot of surface design, prints, illustration, and then also like embellishments like embroidery and gold foiling, which I've actually brought through into the sculpture. So that's another fun little element on top of the painting.
This is my tiger. He is a metal tiger. I think a big inspiration. Do you not know the real inspiration behind it? So the big inspiration behind this was Avatar, Legend of Aang. So each element kind of has their personalities, I guess. Some elements are more fluid than the others, and the metal is kind of strong and rigid. I knew as soon as I got the metal one it would be super technical, and being able to express that rigid element through this tiger with strong angular strokes and play with the gradient, that kind of stuff.
I kind of just wanted to portray flowy forms, flowy shapes, and the many different ways that it can be portrayed. So like a raging river, a crashing wave, a pool or a stream. I started looking at a few more like traditional waveforms in Chinese traditional art and tried to have that dictate some of the shapes that I'll be using. And I just look at a lot of like tattoo work, like Japanese work, a lot of Korean work, especially Korean tigers, they're like amazing. Southeast Asian work, Thai work, Indonesian. There's an amazing amount of Asian art which doesn't get a lot of publicity on the internet and things.
This actually is the 21st anniversary New Year Festival. Pretty much the same. Only the people are grow up a bit more. Like the children, they're helping those days. Today, it's very much like become grow up adult. In Wellington, that become very much a special day for me to enjoy the New Year with everyone. And everybody have a new start and a great start, great health, great wealth for the coming year.
Growing up, Phoebe and I did lots of Chinese dancing. Our grandparents helped kind of set up the Chinese Sports and Culture Centre up in Newtown, so our parents are very much involved in that. Looking back, it's quite cute that we did that, and it's special because we have like that part of who we are, and I guess not many kids can say they did Chinese dancing.
Chinese culture has been a really big part of my life growing up, and it's a really nice time to all come together and celebrate the year ahead. It represents family and community, and yeah, it's always a lot of fun hanging out with the cousins and the other artists like Tara and Matt who I grew up with, so yeah, it's always really special to hang out with them.
Yeah, no, I love them, they're great. Seeing like friends and people that I grew up with making our artwork and having our say in the festival was a nice thing to be a part of. It's nice having this festival that kind of brings us together back then, but now we kind of have a part in it and have something shown in the festival. It's a nice full circle moment, I think.
Lunar New Year has always been something that's firmly been attached to my cultural identity. Being Chinese, raised in New Zealand, it was a connection that I had to my family over in Malaysia. We did it in our own way, but I think it's fair if it diverges slightly. It's reflective of the population here and the culture that we kind of make as immigrants.